Okay, y'all, I've got a story that's gonna make you one-up some sense into a few people. Buckle up, this one's a ride. It all started on what seemed like a regular Monday morning. I was sitting at my desk, typing away on my computer, sipping my third cup of coffee. Yes, I'm one of those. And minding my business. And then he walked in. You know the kind of boss that just has this energy? The one that walks in like the office belongs to him, with his big suit, fancy watch, and a smug little smile that screams, "I'm better than all of you." Yeah, that kind of boss. His name? Let's call him Mr. Perfect. But trust me, he was anything but. So, Mr. Perfect walks in, and I can already tell something's off. His posture's a little stiff, and his eyes are darting around the room like he's trying to avoid eye contact. But of course, I had to say something, because what else are coworkers for, right? "Morning, boss. Everything okay?" He gives me this weird half smile. "Oh yeah, everything's fine, just a little hectic today." And then it happened. As I'm typing, I notice him lingering by my desk like he's trying to say something but can't quite get the words out. It's uncomfortable. Like, super uncomfortable. I glance up at him, and our eyes meet. "Is there something you need, Mr. Perfect?" I ask, genuinely confused. And that's when he says the words that set everything in motion. "I need you to work through lunch today. Just for today. It's really important." Now listen, I'm not the type to complain about working late. I get it. Stuff happens. But that was the moment when I realized this wasn't the first time he'd asked me to do something unreasonable. I could feel my blood start to boil, but I tried to stay cool. "Sure, no problem," I said with the most forced smile I could manage. But on the inside, I was already over it. That's when the idea hit me. The last straw had been set in motion. I couldn't take it anymore. The next day, I walked into the office with a mission. I was going to report him to HR. And not just for that lunch thing. No, there was more. So much more. You see, Mr. Perfect wasn't just a bad boss. He was the kind of boss who thought he could treat people however he wanted because he had power. He would give unfair tasks, make disrespectful comments, and never acknowledge the hard work anyone did. He definitely didn't know how to talk to people, especially women. I had enough. I decided that HR was my only option. All right, so maybe you're already thinking, why didn't you just confront him? Well, let's just say there's more to it than just that. And trust me, you're going to want to hear the rest. Drop a like if you've ever been stuck with a boss like Mr. Perfect, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on what happens next. I promise, it gets wild. Okay, so now you know the backstory, but let me tell you what happened after I decided to go to HR. This is where things get crazy. So, I walked into the HR department with my mind made up. I was done. No more being pushed around. No more dealing with a boss who thought he was above everything. I was ready to speak up. I sat down across from the HR rep, a woman named Janice, who had this weirdly neutral expression. You know, the type of person who seems like they've heard it all, but also doesn't really care. I started off with the whole, "I need to report my boss" bit, and her face didn't change at all. She just nodded slowly like she'd been waiting for this. "So, what's been going on?" she asked, sounding as if she were reading from a script. And you know what? I told her everything. I laid out every single thing that Mr. Perfect had done, every time he made me work late without a thank you, every inappropriate comment he'd made, every task that was just downright ridiculous for my position. I went into detail about how he treated the entire team like we were beneath him, how he never gave us credit for any of our work, and how his entire attitude made the office feel like a toxic swamp. Janice listened without interrupting, but the whole time, I noticed this tiny smirk creeping onto her face. Now, I'm no expert in body language, but something told me that wasn't a good sign. When I finished, I waited for her to respond. I was hoping for some kind of reassurance, a sign that maybe someone was finally going to take my side. Instead, Janice leaned back in her chair, folded her arms, and said, "Well, it sounds like you've got some personal issues with him, but have you considered that maybe this is just how he works?" My jaw dropped. What? I literally had to blink a few times to process what she just said. Was she seriously defending Mr. Perfect? I didn't let her see the shock on my face. I took a deep breath and said, "I don't think it's personal. I think he's just rude and unprofessional. He's been treating me and everyone else like we're disposable. I'm here because I can't take it anymore." Janice nodded, her smirk not fading in the slightest. "I understand, but we need to be careful with these kinds of reports. You don't want to go making allegations without being able to back them up. You have to understand that people's perceptions here might not align with yours." I wanted to scream. What does that even mean? This wasn't about perceptions, it was about basic respect. But instead of flipping the desk over and storming out, I took a deep breath. I was in this now. There was no turning back. "Well, can we at least file a formal complaint? Something needs to be done about him," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Janice sighed and looked at her watch, as if she was running out of time. "We'll look into it," she said dismissively, "but I'll need you to keep it low-key. HR doesn't want to stir up unnecessary drama." Low-key? This was a serious issue, not some office gossip. But at this point, I had no choice. I had to trust the process, right? I stood up, thanked her as politely as possible, and left the office feeling like I was walking into the lion's den. The weight of what I just did hit me like a ton of bricks. Was this really going to be the end of it? Or had I just opened a can of worms I couldn't put back in the can? Okay, that's it for now, but trust me, things are about to get way worse. If you think it's bad now, wait until you hear what happened after I reported him to HR. Spoiler alert, it wasn't HR who saved the day. It was something else entirely. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. Drop a comment below if you've ever had an HR experience that did not go the way you thought it would. I'm all ears. And don't forget to like the video if you're enjoying the drama so far. It was a completely vague response, something like, "We are investigating the situation as you requested. Please refrain from discussing the matter with others in the office. HR takes these matters seriously, but we need to proceed with caution to avoid any misunderstandings." What the heck? Proceed with caution? Are you serious? The guy's a walking HR violation, and they want to be cautious? It was like they were just trying to sweep everything under the rug. That's when it hit me. I wasn't the only one who had complained about Mr. Perfect. I wasn't the only one who'd gone to HR about his bad behavior. Others had been silenced too. And the worst part? HR wasn't doing anything about it. They were just covering it up, keeping the peace to protect their precious company reputation. I couldn't believe it. HR, the place you're supposed to turn to for help, was just another part of the problem. I was pissed. I won't lie, I was furious. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about everyone who had ever been treated like garbage by a toxic boss and was too afraid to speak up. But no one was going to speak for them, except for me. I had a choice to make, and it wasn't going to be easy. I could either take a step back and let it all go, or I could dig in and expose the truth. And guess what I chose? Yeah, I dug in. I started gathering evidence. I took screenshots of emails where Mr. Perfect had crossed the line. I made notes of every single conversation he had with me or anyone else where his behavior was less than professional. I even secretly recorded a few meetings. Don't judge, I needed backup. I knew I was playing a dangerous game, but I was done being silenced. I wasn't going to let this go until something changed. But here's the thing about exposing people. When you start digging, sometimes you find things that you weren't expecting. And I had no idea what I was about to uncover. All right, I know, it's getting intense, right? Well, trust me, the roller coaster ride is just getting started. What happened next was even more shocking, and it's gonna have you thinking, did she seriously just do that? So don't miss the next part. If you've ever been stuck in a toxic work environment and had to deal with HR, drop a comment and let me know your HR horror stories. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss out on the next chapter. Things are about to get even crazier. Stay tuned. Okay, folks. This is where the story takes a wild turn. You remember how I started gathering evidence, thinking I was just trying to expose Mr. Perfect for the jerk he was? Well, it got way darker than I ever imagined. I started digging into old emails and documents. I kept my head down, pretending to be doing my usual tasks, but my mind was racing. Every time Mr. Perfect sent out an email, I'd save it. Every meeting we had, I'd make sure I took detailed notes. I was compiling a case, and it felt like I was about to blow the whole thing wide open. But here's the twist. While I was going through all of this, I started noticing something strange. At first, it was just little things. Small inconsistencies in the way people spoke about Mr. Perfect. Then I stumbled upon an email that didn't seem to fit. It was from Janice. Yes, the same HR rep who was supposed to be investigating everything. And it was to someone I didn't recognize. I opened the email and read it. The more I read, the worse it got. The email was a back-and-forth conversation between Janice and someone named Roger, an executive from another department, and it was about Mr. Perfect. The tone of the email wasn't professional at all. It was full of snide comments and backhanded compliments about employees, including me. They talked about how some of the complaints about him were getting too loud and how they needed to do something before it became a bigger issue. But the best part? The last line of the email. Janice wrote, "Let's just keep this under wraps until things blow over. The company can't afford another scandal." Another scandal? Wait a second. Another scandal? What was she talking about? I sat there staring at my phone, Rachel's words echoing in my head. You have to go public with this. But how? And what would happen to me if I did? I wasn't just holding on to some petty office drama anymore. This was a company-wide scandal. HR was covering for bad bosses, ignoring complaints, and trying to silence employees. If I exposed them, I wouldn't just be taking down Mr. Perfect. I'd be blowing the lid off a much bigger problem. I had two choices: stay quiet, keep my job, avoid any risks, and let the company keep getting away with this. Fight back. Expose everything, even if it meant putting my career on the line. And listen, I wanted to be the kind of person who immediately chooses the second option. But let's be real. I was terrified. I could already picture how it would play out. If I went public, the company would deny everything. HR would probably say I was lying, twist the story, maybe even fire me before I could prove anything. Or worse, blacklist me. Because let's be honest, in corporate America, once you're labeled a troublemaker, good luck finding another job. Companies don't like people who call them out. And then there was Mr. Perfect. If I did this, he'd know it was me. He wouldn't just sit back and let it happen. I had no idea what he was capable of. So yeah, I was freaking out. I needed a plan. I couldn't just walk into the office, slam my laptop down, and yell, "Explain this, Janice!" No, I had to be smart. I had to make sure that when I made my move, they wouldn't be able to bury the truth. So, I did what any overthinking, overly cautious person would do. I called a lawyer. Now, before you judge me, best decision ever. Because guess what? The lawyer took one look at the email I found and went, "Oh yeah, this is illegal." Apparently, HR covering up complaints and knowingly allowing a hostile work environment? Major lawsuit material. He told me that if I wanted to go public, I needed to do three things. Gather every piece of evidence I could. Screenshots, emails, meeting notes, everything. Find other employees who had similar experiences. The more voices speaking up, the harder it would be for the company to deny it. Time my move perfectly. And that last part? That's where things got interesting. The perfect opportunity. A week later, something big happened. Our company's annual town hall meeting. It was one of those fake PR-friendly events where the CEO gets up on stage, pretends to care about employees, and talks about how much the company values integrity and transparency. Yeah, right? But that's when it hit me. This was my chance. The town hall had a live Q&A session where employees could submit anonymous questions. And guess who had the juiciest question ever ready to go? I submitted it early that morning. Why does HR ignore complaints about certain managers? And why does the company prioritize covering up issues instead of protecting employees? Boom. Now, normally a question like this would get filtered out immediately. But the best part? I wasn't the only one asking. After talking to a few coworkers, some of whom had also been screwed over by HR, I convinced them to submit similar questions. By the time the Q&A session started, our questions were all over the board. And then it happened, the moment of truth. The CEO, all smiles, scrolling through the submitted questions on his tablet. Then, he pauses. His smile falters for a second. I swear I saw his soul leave his body. He clears his throat, forces a fake laugh, and says, "Wow, we're getting a lot of questions about, workplace policies." Yeah, no kidding, buddy. I glance around the room. People are whispering. Some are staring at their phones. And then my phone buzzes. A Slack message. from Rachel. OMG, they're deleting questions. Of course they were. The moderators start skipping over anything related to HR, moving on to easy softball questions like, what's the company's vision for the next 5 years? But guess what? The damage was already done. People noticed. Employees started talking. Some were whispering in the back of the room, others were furiously typing on Slack. And then, something even crazier happened. One of the VPs raised his hand. He looked straight at the CEO and said, I think we should address these HR concerns. Oh my God. That was it. The moment everything changed, the CEO had no choice but to acknowledge the issue. He tried to downplay it, of course, saying things like, we take all concerns very seriously and HR is here to support you. But the energy in the room? Completely different. No one was buying it. And I knew this was just the beginning. If you thought things were messy before, just wait. Because after this meeting, the real chaos begins. And trust me, HR? They did not like what happened next. If you've ever seen a company try to cover up a scandal but completely fail at it, drop a comment below. What's the worst work drama you've ever seen? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because you do not want to miss what happens next. So, let me tell you something about HR. They hate when things go public. Like, really hate it. Because the moment employees start asking questions, talking to each other, and noticing the patterns, boom, their little house of cards collapses. And that's exactly what was happening. After the town hall, the company's Slack exploded. People were furious that the CEO dodged the questions. Employees started sharing their own horror stories about HR ignoring complaints, sweeping issues under the rug, and even retaliating against people who spoke up. And then, oh, you're gonna love this, somebody leaked the meeting recording online. Yep. Some brave soul screen recorded the whole awkward disaster and posted it in a private employee forum. And within hours, it had thousands of views. Now, this is where things got wild. The emergency meeting. The morning after the town hall, my inbox dinged with an email from HR. Mandatory all-hands meeting, 10 a.m. Oh, this was gonna be good. I showed up early, grabbed my coffee, and plopped into a chair near the back, pretending to be totally clueless. HR walked in looking like they hadn't slept in days. The VP of HR, let's call her Janice, stood at the front, forcing the fakest smile I've ever seen. She cleared her throat. So, we just want to address some misunderstandings from yesterday. Oh, here we go. She started with the usual corporate nonsense. We take all concerns very seriously. HR's priority is employee well-being. If you ever feel uncomfortable, please come talk to us. Blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, this is the best part, she had the audacity to say, we encourage open dialogue, but please remember that sharing internal discussions outside the company is a violation of policy. Excuse me, what? So basically, feel free to talk as long as nobody else hears you. Yeah, nice try, Janice. The most awkward silence ever. After her little speech, she paused, probably expecting everyone to just nod and move on. Nope, nobody said a word. Like, you could hear a pin drop. Then, someone from marketing raised their hand and went, so, are you actually going to answer the questions from yesterday? Oh, I wanted to hug this person. HR Janice forced another awkward smile. Well, as I mentioned, we take these concerns very seriously and no, like, actually answer them. Boom. Janice's face turned bright red. She stuttered something about confidentiality and looking into the matter. At that point, people weren't even hiding their eye rolls anymore. But the real chaos? That was still coming. The bombshell email. An hour after the meeting, a new email hit my inbox. Subject line, re your HR inquiry. Oh, I clicked it and my stomach dropped. After careful review, we have determined that your concerns do not warrant further action. However, we appreciate your feedback and encourage you to continue fostering a positive work environment. Excuse me? They just brushed it off. Like nothing happened. Like I hadn't spent months collecting evidence. Like I was just making it all up. Oh, I was done playing nice. So I did something HR never expected. I forwarded the email to everyone. Yep. I hit that little forward button and sent it to every single employee in my department. And the subject line, HR's official response, just so you know. And just like that, all hell broke loose. If you thought HR was panicking before, just wait until you see what happens next. Because after my email went out, Let's just say the company wasn't ready for what came next. If you've ever had a truly awful HR experience, tell me about it in the comments. Let's make this a support group, because corporate nonsense is universal. And don't forget to subscribe, you're not going to believe how this ends. So, remember how I forwarded HR's email to everyone? Yeah, things escalated fast. Within minutes, my inbox blew up with responses. Some were just facepalm emojis, others were like, "Are you kidding me?" But the best ones? The screenshots. Because turns out, I wasn't the only one. Employees from different departments started replying with their own rejection emails from HR, almost word for word the same template as mine. HR had been copy-pasting their responses to serious complaints for years. Oh, but it gets better. The leak that changed everything. Some genius, who I will forever be grateful for, took all these emails, compiled them into a Google Doc, and leaked it to the entire company. And then, someone sent it to a journalist. Yep. The next morning, I woke up to a news article about how my company's HR department was basically a black hole where complaints went to die. I almost spit out my coffee. HR tries to cover their tracks. By lunchtime, HR was in full panic mode. First, they sent out a company-wide email saying, "We are aware of recent discussions regarding HR procedures. We want to assure you that we are actively reviewing our policies to better serve our employees." LMAO. Sure, Janice. Then, people started getting called into private meetings. You know, the classic damage control strategy. They called me in first. I walked into the HR office, and Janice was sitting there looking like she hadn't slept in a month. She sighed and gave me this fake sympathetic look. "We're just disappointed that you handled this publicly instead of coming to us." "Oh, you mean like I did? 4 months ago, when you ignored me?" Visibly sweating. She then tried to pull "this could hurt your career" card. LOL. Joke's on them. I had a plan. The sweetest revenge. See, while HR was busy covering their butts, I was quietly applying to new jobs. And guess what? I got an offer. From a competitor. With way better pay. So I leaned in, smiled, and said, "Actually, Janice, I quit." Her face? Priceless. She stammered something about an exit interview, and I was like, "Nah, I'm good." Then, as a final mic drop, I walked out, went straight to Slack, and typed, "It's been real, y'all. But I'm out. If you need a company that actually respects its employees, hit me up. I know a place." And the reactions? Chef's kiss. People cheered, some sent crying, laughing emojis. Others started sending in their own resignations. And within a week, HR's worst nightmare came true. HR's ultimate meltdown. The company lost so many employees that they had to shut down an entire department. Oh, and the CEO? Had to issue a public statement about restructuring HR. LMAO. By the time they tried to fix things, it was too late. The damage was done. And me? I started my new job at a company where HR actually does its job. Do I regret anything? Absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, companies will always try to protect themselves. So sometimes, you have to be louder than their silence. The end, but not really. So yeah, that's how I went from filing a complaint to watching HR completely implode. If you've ever had to deal with a trash HR department, drop your story in the comments. Let's expose these corporate clowns together. And if you like this story, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications, because I have plenty more tea to spill. See you in the next one.